Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel with your host Elion, and we are here with Quella and from the band Aldorfrea. So welcome there, Quella.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here. Looking forward to having a chat.
Yeah, so Quella, could you introduce yourself and what you do within the band Aldorfrea?
Aldorfrea, I'm the vocalist, the bassist, and the songwriter for Aldorfrea. Been doing that for the past sort of 2 years now. Um, Handling everything like production, things like that. It started out as my own project, and then we've got like a couple of others on board now, and yeah, going forward, going strong.
So how could so the band Aldorfrea? How would you describe the band?
In terms of the style, things like that, it's very much it's kind of moved on from a more traditional sort of black metal sound. It's got a bit more intricate, if you like, there's sort of past releases and beyond. Um, but yeah, it's basically it's black metal music based on a lot of English history, particularly sort of Old England period, medieval, that kind of thing. Just delving into a bit of our own history, really. There's a sort of a lot of black metal out there that covers, a lot of European kind of history, and there's which we do ourselves as well here and there. But yeah, basically a lot of just cool medieval kind of, whether it's whether it's fiction or not. Yeah, just basically covering those kind of things.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so let's dive into some questions. As a kid, what were you listening to?
um, well, I was a '90s child anyway, so you were kind of the '90s, as you probably know. I know obviously you had like the era of grunge and things like that, but on a more sort of, if you're a child on a sort of more mainstream level, you're looking at your Spice Girls, you're looking at your Wet Wet Wets and your things like that. It was that kind of the '90s was that kind of period where you couldn't move for a like a boy band or anything like that. But I think sort of even from an early age, um, again being the sort of the era that I grew up in, a lot of the sort of early heavier bands would have been your likes of your Limp Bizkit, Korn, Slipknot, those very sort of late '90s, early 2000s, Drowning Pool, things like that. So those were the kind of those are kind of gateway bands into metal, and then you sort of go from there. You get to college, you're listening to Deicide and Cannibal Corpse and Morbid Angel, and then it kind of just evolved from there, I think. So from an early age, as early as I can remember, as I could, I should say. Yeah, you start out with your new metal, your Limp Biscuits and things, Linkin Park and things like that. But yeah, it was a little
Yeah,
gateway into a lot more extreme stuff.
yeah. Who actually got you into like listening to music?
In terms of listening to music, I mean, it's whatever takes my fancy. To be honest, I think there is this sort of stigma that everybody, metalheads only listen to metal, and particularly in black metal, that if it's a good song, I'll listen to it. I think primarily, yeah, I would say, yeah, I have to admit, I do listen to a lot of metal, but I think it's not just all the kind of music that we do. It's anything from, I don't know, Ghost, Sabaton, Volbeat, bands like that. I also listen to Iron Maiden, a huge fan of theirs, lifelong fan pretty much of Maiden, and starting out early influences like AC/DC and Motorhead, particularly becoming a musician. They were very very big influences on that. So yeah, I mean, whatever's showing up on my daily mix on Spotify, I'll six daily mixes to choose from. I'll see whatever I'm in the mood for.
I think that goes for like a lot of people. It's
Yeah,
whatever your mood is to what you actually listen to, because music is actually very informative of
yeah,
how
absolutely.
people. now people listen to, because it doesn't matter what genre of music you're really into, like heavily into.
Yeah,
It's there's always a song out there for a specific mood.
exactly. Yeah, it's always nice to have a palate cleanser, as they call them. When if you listen to non-stop something heavy, it's always nice to sort of take a break from whatever that, listen to something a bit lighter. Variety is the spice of life, especially with music. It's a great thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So, who actually inspired you to become a musician? Was it a family member? Was it a friend, or was it somebody from AC/DC or Iron Maiden or Motorhead, or was it
Yeah.
something completely different?
I think when it probably started around college sort of years, I think starting to be in, broadening my horizons from those sort of bands I was listening through high school to, you're exposed to a lot more as you get older in terms of music. New platforms come out, so I think I don't know if there's anyone in particular that did it, but it was just the fact that there was so much more of a variety of music. It made me kind of want to do that myself or just give it a go. And that's when I sort of started playing bass in college, and it kind of just snowballed from there. I'd say there is very influential uh, frontmen and band members that have influenced me. Absolutely, Lemmy's a big one, of course. Bruce Dickinson, things like that. Yeah, you do. I did sort of grow up, really, admiring these kind of talents, and not that you want to not to replicate it, but to just do something in your own style. But I think those would be probably my earliest influences to go into music for sure.
Yeah, cool, cool. So, uh, were you in any bands prior to Aldorfrea?
Yeah, I mean, I was in it was basically a group of friends, really. We were in a sort of a hardcore punk, hard rock band called Target Renegades. I think we had that going for about 10 years, something maybe a bit less, I think. But it was more of um, a friend, just you meeting up with your mates once a week and you're rehearsing for half an hour, chatting for another two, sort of thing. So it was never really. It was only during once we played our last show, it sort of lockdown happened. So COVID-19 kicked in, and it was during that. I mean, I quit music for about a year. Just didn't really want to do anything, and then it was just a bit of a light bulb moment that I thought, well, while we're in lockdown, I've got my bass here, and you can this day and age you can record from a laptop. If you've got the right equipment, it's just so accessible. So this is literally my first foray into black metal, and it's just kind of gone from strength to strength ever since. And yeah, no signs of slowing down, and yeah, just really enjoying it.
Yeah, cool, cool. So, what has the band been up to, especially over the last couple of years, since you basically first started?
Since we start, yeah, we've gone through. Um, well, today, funnily enough, I was doing an Instagram video earlier just for it's the 1 year anniversary today of our first album, Thy Kingdom Cold, which yeah came out a year ago today. So that's been absolutely brilliant. The response to that was wonderful. So we also announced today that we will be releasing a new album, a second full length album in the next couple of months. We've also been working on an EP which will be releasing next year. So we've been sat on a couple of releases that we've worked, over 12 months on recently. So we've got plenty of music to sit on. So we're looking forward to a very positive year ahead as well.
Yeah, cool, cool. So, you mentioned you about a year ago you released your first album.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the first album, Thy Kingdom Cold, it was the first album featuring my vocals as well. and this was the first time that I'd ever tried it, and it's kind of, some people like it, some people hate it. It's one of those. It's the same with any band, I suppose. But yeah, that album was, the first full length album that we'd done. A lot of time and effort went into it, but the result was, the reaction was really good. I think from the get go, to even to now, like there's still, even a year later, there's decent amount of streams going on Spotify and Apple Music, these are things like that. It's doing really well, and we're hoping to sort of. But it has also been a year. We've done a single, Magna Pestilencia, which we released a few months ago, which was a bit more of a sort of a black and roll kind of song, something a bit different. That's why it was a standalone single. We covered Bathory's Necromancy as well. So that was just sort of a bit of a bridge the gap to what we've got coming up next, which will be a new album.
Yeah. Going on to the new album, if you can, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the new album is, as I say, we're looking to hopefully have this out sometime around Halloween, based on time frame and things like that. It's the longest album we've ever done, and also we've only done one full length before, but this is significantly longer than the first album, a couple of tracks longer, and we've got some cool ideas planned in the pipeline for the physical release for it as well. We just need to see if we can, get that to come to fruition, because I know a lot of people do like the physical copies and things like that. So it'll be, it's going to be something special, I believe. Particularly it's an evolution from the last album. I think it's a massive evolution from the last album, and I'm really excited for people to hear it.
Yeah, cool. So you mentioned you got something else in the pipeline. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we've also been writing a new EP, which is a little bit different again. I think every release that we do is always going to be, it's still very much Aldorfrea, but there's going to be a few tweaks and a bit of experimentation going on there. So we've been working with a new sort of a bit of a change lineup. We've got a new drummer, Bob Knight, he's currently working on the drums for that EP. But we've got a few time constraints with that, the people's schedules, things like that. So it makes sense for us to sort of shift the EP maybe into sort of like mid next year, and we can now release, now that the second album's fully finished. It's been finished since May, so we're going to release that first, and then we'll have another release set up for sort of mid next year, and then by that point, knowing me, there'll be something else written, so it'll be time to release something again, and so on.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is there any sort of new material that you're working on, for something else or something for Aldorfrea?
Nothing. I have got some other things in the pipeline that I've not really ironed out yet. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to sort of slow things down a little bit, because we've literally just finished, a few months ago, we finished an album. We're 80% through an EP, and so after that, I'm not too sure what I'll probably pull the trigger on next. Might just be a case of we would just write another album, or we might be able to someday, maybe play some live shows. If the stars align, that's something that we could definitely, hopefully look into. But yeah, it's a bright future for sure for Aldorfrea, I think, at the minute, in terms of releases, things that we've got coming. But we're always working on something to give us a creative outlet. So whether that's once the album and the EP are out, whether it's something new, something a bit off the wall, we don't know. It's probably too early to tell, but we'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was going to ask. You mentioned you wanted to do some live shows. Now, like you said, if all the stars align and everything is perfect, everything is a go, would you do like a full UK tour, or do a full full UK tour first, then sort of like branch out over to like either Europe or over to North America or down to South America or even over to like South Africa or down to Australia? Would you even consider that?
I think in terms of booking, well, in terms of shows, I think it would probably start off. I'd be happy to just do the odd show. I think just to sort of gauge, because it's, it's arranging um, to get live members off at the same time and free to do these things. There was originally plans for. I mean, this is going back a couple of years ago when the Aldorfrea project first started. There was plans to go to play shows in Europe, but unfortunately, coronavirus saw to that. So, but yeah, I think the odd show would be a good place to start and gauge it from there. But yeah, to play in Europe would be, yeah, it would be an absolute dream. Having seen, going to Brutal Assault in Czech Republic this year to see how much the Europeans celebrate metal in comparison to the UK, maybe it's a sight to see, and it would be really cool to get over to one of those countries. But there's plenty of there's a lot of amazing venues in the UK as well. Whether it's a full UK tour, I've no idea. It's down to what we can get together, but definitely want to look at playing the odd show just to get the feel of it and who's going to be playing and set list things like that. But yeah, it's definitely something that we will look into probably sometime after these next one or two releases.
Yeah, cool. Cool. So, where can people find you on social media?
So social media, we mainly use Instagram. So it's instagram.com/Aldorfrea. You'll find us on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, pretty much everywhere. Bandcamp, Spotify. We're all over the place. We're everywhere. But yeah, I think Instagram is probably, you'll get the most recent updates from there.
Yeah, cool, cool. So with being you on with the band being on Bandcamp,
Yeah.
have you got any sort of like physical releases like for the first album? Have you got T-shirts, that type of thing, merch type of stuff?
Yeah, we still have. We've got we've got long sleeve shirts, Bad Kingdom Cold album shirts, and we've got. I think we've still got tapes, CDs, that kind of thing. So yeah, you can pick them all up from either our Bandcamp, or if you go to Matriarch Records, and they also sell a lot of our merch, well, all of our merch. So yeah, pick yourself up anything, physical release, patch, shirt, whatever you like. It's all there for you.
Yeah, cool, cool. So this is probably going to be my final question. Any advice for people who want to become a musician?
Yeah, I mean, with this, I think this day and age in particular, I think it's a lot easier it's a lot more accessible for you to actually do it. It's the way in which technology is these days, to be able to learn to play piano on your phone, things like it's just so accessible. And if you've got any kind of desire to pick up an instrument, whatever that may be, just do it. I think it isn't easy. It's nothing worth doing ever is. But I think with picking up an instrument, it's very easy to sort of say, well, I'm going to pick up a guitar and start to learn it. And then, when you've not got the hang of it after 4 hours, it's very easy to set it down. So I think if if I was to give anyone any advice, would be, I guess, persevere with it. If you feel like music's a creative outlet that you want to pursue, then just stick with it. I think it's the best advice I can give. And it will pay off. It will pay off, and yeah, you'll reap the benefits, and you'll be better for it.
Sound advice. Sound advice. Oh, it's one more question before we start wrapping things up. Have you got a YouTube channel? Yeah, so if for videos.
Yeah, so we've got a YouTube channel that we've just started using a bit more now. So again, yeah, youtube.com/Aldorfrea. Yeah, you'll find us over there as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I think it's time to wrap things up. So guys, go check out Aldorfrea on their social media. You won't be disappointed. I've listened to some of their stuff and it's good. If you're into black metal, go check them out. Go check them out. So, any final words before we sign off there, Quilla?
No, just yeah. Thanks very much for having me. It's been nice to have a chat with you, and hopefully we'll speak again.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's more than just hit me up on social media and we'll sort something out.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, yeah. I'll speak to you soon.
Right. Thank you again, Aquila. It's been an absolute
Thank you very
pleasure.
much. Bye for now.
Bye for now.